Hey guys, Uncle Zaz here, and welcome back to another story. And today we're going to continue on with the Dingo and Ditching trilogy. And if you haven't watched the first video, go watch it now, or any references I make to the last video won't make sense. But anyway, as I said in the last video, I didn't Dingo Ditch again for a long time. Not while I was in Michigan, I didn't ever Dingo Ditch again. But here in Kentucky, I did. So it's probably 7th grade. I am over at my friend Jacob's house, the white Jacob in my Jacob fight story, and I'm over there, and I spent the night at his house a lot. I mean, ridiculous, like how much I spent the night at his house, and that was probably because he, like at the time, he was my only friend. But I'm over there, we're having a good time, we're chilling. I don't even know what we were doing. We might have been playing Xbox or on his laptop or something. It really could be anything, but it's probably 1 in the morning. And we're still up, and he's like, yo, have you ever Dingo Ditched before? And I was like, oh, no, I haven't. Because in reality, I forgot all about the time with Shane. I completely forgot about that. So I told him no, and he's like, oh, we should go. And it's like, all right, cool. Because back then, I was pretty much, if you told me to jump off a cliff and you're my friend, I'd probably do it. But not so much nowadays. But anyway, I was like, cool, we'll go. So it's 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, somewhere around there, and we're like, all right, let's go. So we're like, how are we going to get out? I mean, and Jacob pretty much laid it out. He was like, okay, so we can either go out my window or we can go out the back door. Back door is riskier, but, it's easier. So I'm sitting there weighing out the options. I'm like, okay, back door. We go out the back door. I mean, all it takes is we just got to open up and walk out. And the thing is, I was like, that could be bad because, your brother is sleeping right there on the couch. I mean, if he wakes up, or I mean, if that might be if that's our way back in, and someone's like, staying in the kitchen or something, we're stuck outside. Or someone comes and locks the door, we're stuck outside. And he's like, oh wait, don't worry, got you. What he does is he cracks his windows open, and it's all good. So we're sitting outside, and we're like, okay, where are we going? And we're sitting at the corner street, and we're like, all right, we can either, go straight and, into a little, court over there. We can go left and up the street, or we can go right into like the rich neighborhood area. And I don't know why we decided this was a good idea, but we decided to go in the rich neighborhood area. So me and him, we start walking over there. It's not a far walk, probably just like a block or so. And we walk down there, and we're standing there, and we're like, okay, which house are we gonna do first? Cause it's a court, and we're like, all right, no problem. We'll just hit like every house in the court, and we'll leave. That's a bad idea. I'm just gonna like let you guys know it didn't work out. So anyway, we go, and we're like, let's get every single house. Let's go. So we're sitting there, and we're like, okay, we need a hiding spot, because if we don't have a hiding spot, we're gonna be seen, and it's gonna be over. So we're like, okay, when it's my turn, I'm like, Jacob, you hide there, and I'll come run over and blah blah blah. And pretty much this is how we did it. So let's say first house, I think Jacob did it first, and he went up and he knocked on the door, or banged on the door more like it, or rang the door by one of the two. And then he came and ran back to our area, and we would lay down and watch to see anyone came to the door. So we go and we do the first house, nothing happens. We're like, oh dang, this sucks. And it's like 1, 2 in the morning, so I'm like, oh, a lot of people probably aren't up, so we're probably not getting that much of a response. We go, we do the next 2, 3, 4 houses, and nothing happens. No one comes to the door. So eventually we're just like, oh, whatever, let's go home. So we're walking to his house, and we're almost there. I mean, it's just probably a few more steps. And then Jacob says, hold on, wait, stop. And I look behind me, and there's a guy walking towards us. I mean, he looked like he hastily threw on his stuff. His shoes were on all the way. His jacket wasn't zipped up or anything. And he was just kind of walking towards us. And I'm like, Jacob, let's go. Why are we standing here? He's like, no, we'll stay. And, again, like I said, back then, I followed whoever was, quote-unquote in charge. He, to me, was in charge. I always needed someone to follow, and he was the person I was following, so I was like, I guess I'm staying here, too. So we're sitting there, standing there, I guess, and he comes over, and he's like, why are you Dingo Ditching? And we're like, ooh, should we lie or should we not? I don't lie. I instantly tell him, like, I don't know. Me and Jacob were kind of both like that, and he's like, do you know who I am? I'm like, nope. And he's like, he pulls out his badge. He's an FBI agent. He tells us, he's like, I'm an FBI agent, and I'm like, bull. There's no way this guy's actually an FBI agent. And back then, my vision was terrible. I mean, I didn't have glasses or anything. My vision's still terrible, but I didn't have glasses or anything, so I had to get really close to see it. And I read, and this guy's actually an FBI agent. I was like, ooh, this is bad. And he's like, you guys should not be out here this late, interrupting people. I just got back from my shift at work and all this stuff. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh man, we're fucked. And then Jacob's just sitting here like nodding, and I'm nodding too, and we're like, oh, we're sorry and everything. And he goes, next time I'm gonna have you arrested. And we're like, cool, it won't be a next time. And this guy, he goes and he starts walking back to his house. But the thing is, we're right next to Jacob's house, so we're like, what are we gonna do? Like, this guy luckily didn't really see our faces because we were in like the dark. We had hoods on and everything. I mean, he may have seen Jacob's face, but he couldn't really see mine because I am just too dark to see. I'm not really that dark, but I'm just too dark to see when there's no light. But anyway, so me and Jacob have to go and walk down a whole street acting like we're walking home, when in reality, we're like right next to his house. I mean, I could have touched his gate. And we walk all the way down, and we see him like go back in his house, and we go home. So we're going to get home, and it's all Gucci. And then, we look, and we see that a light's on in the kitchen, which either can A, mean that someone came down and was in the kitchen, or B, someone's in the kitchen. But the thing is like we couldn't see anything. Like, we looked in through the window by the back door and we couldn't really see anything, and we're like, oh, it's too risky. If we go in through that door and there's anywhere nearby, it's over. So we're like, alright, we need to hop in through the window. We go to his window, which is on the other side of the house, and we're like, oh crap, I think it's closed. And it's not, luckily. And we open it up, and we're like, okay, how are we gonna get in? Because the window is like, it's not tall. Like, I'm looking at my monitor right now, and my monitor is like 19 inches tall or something. I have to say that it's not even tall as that. It's probably like, I'd probably say like a 15-inch gap. Like, it's enough that we can fit in, but just barely. I mean, it's a pretty wide window, so like we don't have a problem with the width, but we have to slide in. So we're like, okay, how are we gonna get in? And we sitting there for several minutes, just kind of contemplating, and we're just looking, because like right next to the window, there's a nightstand and like some lamps and stuff, and we're like, ooh, how are we gonna get in? Jacob goes, alright, I'm going first. He like kicks the desk forward so that it's out of the way, and he flies in. I mean, it's you can't even say like he went in. He pretty much just dove into the window, and he hits the ground, he hits the nightstand, makes a bunch of noise, and I'm like, oh god, good. I'm like, Jacob, be quiet. And he's like, alright. So he goes and he grabs the nightstand for me and takes the stuff off it and puts it right next to the window so I can hop in. So I go and I pretty much fall face first into the table, but I make less noise than him, and then we're sitting there and we're laying on the floor. I say probably 5 minutes goes by, and then we are on the door, and we're like, oh no, and we're like, okay, we're wiping the sweat off us and everything, we're just chilling. Jacob's in his bed, and what he does, he goes like, one of those fake like, what, like he's sleeping and everything, and she's like, we're home or whatever, because his parents were gone at the time. I think they went into a party or something. They're like, oh, we're home, and we're like, oh, cool. And Jacob goes out to get water and everything, and I'm just sitting in the room on the floor, and she goes, Jacob, Brian, why are you so sweaty? Like, why are you guys so red? And that kind of put us on the spot, and we're sitting here like, oh no, we gotta think of something quick. But luckily, I'm a smart guy, and I knew that Jacob had problems with heat. If he was in a room that was just like normal room temperature, like, or slightly above, I mean, he was red, he was sweating and stuff. I mean, he was made for cooler rooms. So I was like, oh, I mean, his room's just hot. And I was like, can we have a fan? And she's like, oh yeah, sure. So we grab a fan, we put it in there, and Jacob of course congratulates me for making sure we get absolutely destroyed. And that's pretty much it the rest of the night. We just sit there and we talk about how it could have been the end of us and everything, and that's pretty much it. And the smart thing we should have done, the smart thing to do, is not dingo ditch anymore. You think that would be it? I mean, we almost got arrested and everything. Well, we could have gotten arrested and everything. We got caught by FBI agent on our first go. That's not how it went. So between this and my next part, we go out several more times. Nothing too interesting happens. We have a couple times where the people actually come out and stuff like that, and that's pretty cool. But there's one more time that's like worth noting, but isn't as big as the next story. This is probably the 5th or 6th, 7th, 8th time, who knows, time like we've gone ding dong ditching, and we're like, alright, we're pretty much experts at this by now. We go and we either hop out the window, walk out the door, it's all good, no problem, and we go and we hit up around the same area. We don't hit the same area every night because, well, every weekend or whatever, because we know that's just a bad idea. I mean, eventually they're gonna get like neighborhood patrol or whatever, neighborhood watch, or like they're gonna have police circle through there or whatever, or they're gonna get security cameras. So you gotta hit different areas. And, we know this, so we go to an area around where we usually go, and we're like, alright, let's just have a couple houses, because, it's already pretty late, we're pretty tired, and we got things to do in the morning, so let's just have a few houses. And we only end up hitting one house that night, and that's because the first house we hit, we, tracked a lady, like, this big fat lady comes out. And the thing is, we knew she was there, because we looked in the window, she was just sitting there on her laptop. I don't even know what she was doing, but it's like 3 in the morning, and she's on her laptop, and we go boom, boom, boom on the door, and she comes out, and she's like, oh, I can see you, blah, 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 and we're pretty sure she can't see us, and we're chilling in, like, a bush or something, and we're pretty sure she can't see us, so we're just chilling in there, and waiting for her to go away. The thing is, she doesn't go away. She's just like standing outside, and then she goes inside and stands with the window, and she purposely turns off the light so she can see outside, because if you don't know this, if it's really bright in the room you're in and you're trying to look outside into a very dark area, you can't see anything. It's pretty much impossible. That's why, like, when you're in a car, they tell you to turn off the light, because it just makes it hard to see. Anyway, so she turns off the lights and everything, so we can't even see this lady anymore, and we're like, okay, we're pretty sure she's by the window, or she's calling the police. We need to go. So we get up and we just dip. We dip and we go towards this house, but we make sure we cut through neighborhoods and stuff, and we go for a little bit, and we end up in the yard, and we're laying down in the yard, and we're just chill, and we're just waiting, because we're making sure there's no police or anything, and we're just trying to make sure it's safe. All of a sudden I hear and I hear a dog, and I'm pretty sure it's a German Shepherd, because it just sounds like one, and I'm like, oh, no big deal, probably in the house. But then it barks again, and it's closer this time, and I'm like, oh no, we need to go, because if there's actually a German Shepherd out here, it's gonna be bad for us, considering that we're in some random person's yard. So we end up dipping as fast as we can all the way back to his house, like full speed, and then we get to his window, we hop in without any regard for our lives, and that's it for the night, because we ain't trying to get destroyed. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for this part of the story. Next story will be a lot longer. A lot longer, because this is a long story that involves many parts, and it spans a whole day. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe would be appreciated. And again, if you haven't already, I would check out the first part of the story. And if you haven't, check out some of mine and Jackson's other stories that we've done. They're pretty interesting, pretty funny, pretty good, pretty nice. Anyway, I think that's it, and goodbye.